It's hard to move on from an unexpected death when you have no idea how it happened, especially in Hollywood. These late actors passed away under rather mysterious circumstances. A standout at just 8 years old for 1947's Miracle on 34th Street, an Academy Award-nominated teen idol after 1955's Rebel Without a Cause, and a major movie star for West Side Story, Natalie Wood had an impressive and illustrious career. Sadly, it came to an abrupt end with the posthumously released 1983 sci-fi film Brainstorm. Wood's husband, actor Robert Wagner, took his wife and her Brainstorm co-star Christopher Walken out on his boat for a cruise off the Southern California coast one evening in November 1981. During the night, Wagner reportedly became very intoxicated and he fought with his wife, whom he suspected of flirting with Walken. Frustrated over the argument, Wood disappeared. Wagner later said that at the time he figured she'd grabbed a dinghy and found her way to shore, failing to call authorities to report Wood missing for several hours. Early the next morning, Wood's body washed up near Carradine Island, a victim of seemingly accidental drowning. Wood was 43.
Nobody knows how she drowned or what happened except her.
In 2012, that accidental designation was officially excised from Wood's death certificate, following a new investigation into the death by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department after unnamed individuals came forward with new details pertinent to the case. 6 years later, the case was officially reopened, with police considering Wagner a person of interest in his wife's death. In 2022, however, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department told Page 6 that Wagner had been cleared as a suspect. A member of the Blackfeet Nation, Misty Upham became a favorite performer among Native American filmmakers looking to portray indigenous experiences. In addition to her parts in Skins, Skinwalkers, and Dreamkeeper, Upham enjoyed particular praise for her role in 2008's Frozen River, including an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Supporting Female. Throughout her lifetime, Upham dealt with mental health and substance abuse issues. She treated extreme anxiety with prescription drugs and alcohol, and was forcibly hospitalized at mental health facilities on 4 occasions. Upham disappeared on October 5, 2014, but police didn't issue a press release announcing Upham's case until she'd been missing for 8 days. During that time, Upham's frustrated relatives organized a search themselves, which yielded the finding that everyone dreaded. The decomposed remains of the 32-year-old actor were located in a ravine, found 11 days after she was first reported missing. According to the King County Medical Examiner, Upham died from blows to the head and torso, which matched with a fall from a high ridge. The fact that she was found under one of these ridges supported that claim, and toxicology reports indicated a high blood alcohol level. However, nothing about the scene or the evidence could determine whether Upham fell on her own or was pushed by someone else. David Lynch has always preferred to work with the same actors across multiple projects, and Jack Nance was a member of the acclaimed director's ensemble from the very beginning. Nance is most commonly remembered for playing Henry, the lead character in Lynch's debut feature Eraserhead, but he also appeared in Blue Velvet, Dune, Wild at Heart, Lost Highway, and of course, Twin Peaks.
Don't drink that coffee. You'd never guess. There was a fish in the percolator.
At around 5 a.m. on the morning of December 29, 1996, Nance left his apartment in South Pasadena, California, bound for the Winchell's Donut House down the block. He'd later tell friends that in the parking lot he encountered 2 young men and asked them, "Why don't you 2 change out of those baggy clothes and go get a job?" The 2 men then allegedly attacked Nance, leaving him roughed up and with a black eye. As he told actor Catherine Case, who he met with later that day, "I told off some kid. I guess I got what I deserved." A day later, Case's fiancé, writer Leo Bulgarini, visited Nance at his apartment and found him dead on the floor of his bathroom. Suspecting a traumatic head injury, such as the one sustained in his earlier fight, as a cause of death, police launched a murder investigation. However, there was no security camera footage or eyewitness accounts of the altercation. The death was determined to be a homicide, but the manner and perpetrator of the death were never fully determined. With more than 100 credits stretching back to the mid-1990s, Lance Reddick was one of Hollywood's most prolific character actors. He's most commonly recognized as undercover detective Johnny Basil on Oz, police commissioner Cedric Daniels on The Wire, federal agent Philip Broyles on Fringe, and Continental clerk Sharon in 4 John Wick movies. Reddick died abruptly in March 2023. Just 60 years old, Reddick apparently suffered from 2 undiagnosed cardiovascular issues. His death certificate cited the cause as ischemic heart disease and atherosclerotic coronary artery disease, stating that a heart attack was triggered by an abundance of plaque in confined arteries. However, a day after that information was publicly released, Reddick's family and lawyer released a statement contesting it. Their argument was that those health problems didn't mesh with the actor's objectively healthy eating and exercise habits, and that the post-mortem investigation lacked legitimacy. Attorney James E. Hornstein told the Los Angeles Times, "No medical examination of Lance during his lifetime ever indicated such conditions. The information appearing on the death certificates is wholly inconsistent with his lifestyle." Moreover, Hornstein and Reddick's relatives affirmed that the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office failed to even perform an autopsy before declaring a cause of death. The sudden death in December 2009 of 32-year-old clueless, 8 Mile, and King of the Hill star Brittany Murphy left a lot of loose threads in its wake. Murphy's husband, Simon Monjack, found the actor dead in her bathroom, but the Los Angeles County coroner only announced the cause of death months later. According to Coroner Assistant Chief Ed Winter, she was really sick with pneumonia, very anemic, and she was taking medication. The illness was notably exacerbated by the toxic effects of several drugs taken together, both prescribed and non-prescribed. Nearly 90 empty prescription containers were removed from the scene of the death, all under Monjack's name or one of his known pseudonyms. Murphy reportedly had wanted to seek medical attention but died before she could, prevented in part by Monjack's reluctance to do so. He told People magazine, "I took very good care of my wife. She was on an antibiotic and she was taking cough medicine and doing all the right things." Dissatisfied with the coroner's report, Murphy's father lobbied for a test of hair samples, which detected high amounts of 10 toxic metals such as barium.
And I feel she was poisoned. There's no question about that. And I feel she was murdered.
Authorities never reopened an investigation, but just 5 months after Murphy's death, Monjack died at age 40 in the same house. His cause of death was the same as Murphy's, pneumonia worsened by anemia. LAPD Commander Andrew Smith stated it was just a tragic set of circumstances. After his 6-year run on Hogan's Heroes ended in 1971, star Bob Crane spent much of the 1970s performing in dinner theater productions. In June of 1978, Crane moved to Scottsdale, Arizona for a long production run, where the body of the 49-year-old actor was discovered in an apartment with an electrical cord tied around his neck. The Maricopa County Medical Examiner's report showed that Crane died from repeated strikes to the head delivered by a heavy object. A murder investigation got underway, which made public Crane's private proclivities. The actor, presented publicly as a happily married father of several children, engaged in many extramarital trysts, which were documented extensively with Polaroid photographs and videotape. For years, he'd been aided by John Henry Carpenter, a video equipment salesman. But by June 1978, Crane planned to end the working relationship. Crane's son, Robert, told Entertainment Weekly of a phone call he had with his father 2 days before his death, recalling, he says, "I'm making changes. He wanted to lose people like John Carpenter, who had become a pain in the butt." Authorities were unable to conclusively solve the mystery of Crane's murder despite 3 separate investigations. In 1992, prosecutors decided to charge Carpenter, building a case on how a tripod could have been a murder weapon. Carpenter was acquitted due to a lack of solid evidence. John Ritter made appearances on both the big and small screens, but television was where he would find the most success. He played accident-prone chef and Lothario Jack Tripper on Three's Company from 1977 to 1984, before trying his hand at theatrical releases like Problem Child and Sling Blade in the 90s. Ritter returned to TV in 2002 with 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, playing stressed-out dad Paul Hennessy.
Trick or treat, I'm an angel.
Sure, you're an angel now, but in a few years you'll be killing your father.
Daddy!
In September 2003, Ritter was on the set of 8 Simple Rules, taping a Season 2 episode when he was overwhelmed by weakness, nausea, and chest pain. He immediately left to check himself into the nearby Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. Tests indicated that Ritter was in the midst of a heart attack, but when doctors began an emergency operation on the actor, they diagnosed the problem as an aortic dissection, a rip inside of the heart. Had they known about the aortic dissection earlier, they would have treated it in a different manner and could have saved Ritter's life. Instead, since time was of the essence, they went ahead with surgery to address the heart attack. A simple X-ray would have spotted the dissection, and one was ordered early in Ritter's stay but never completed. The actor died in the operating room aged 54. Ritter's wife, Amy Yazbek, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, but didn't end up winning the case. No single individual has had more of an influence on martial arts filmmaking than Bruce Lee, whose appearances in films like Fist of Fury and Enter the Dragon changed the landscape of the genre forever. He would further be written into legend as a one-of-a-kind icon upon his premature death at the age of 32. An autopsy determined that Lee died of brain inflammation, a cerebral edema, which Lee had been diagnosed with 2 months before his death. But as Lee's posthumous popularity grew over time, so too did the theories about how he died. One posited that he was killed by a criminal syndicate, while another suggested he was done in by heat stroke. In 2022, a group of doctors published the results of their speculative Lee autopsy in Clinical Kidney Journal. The team analyzed available data and determined that Lee's cerebral edema could have been caused by hyponatremia. That means that Lee's sodium levels would have fallen to a fatally low point, causing his kidneys to fail to function due to overhydration. According to the study, Lee drank too much water because of tremendous thirst, possibly caused in part by marijuana use. His kidneys couldn't function properly because of the combination of prescription and non-prescription medications that he took on a daily basis. Without any way to examine Lee's body, though, this idea remains an untested theory. Best known for portraying Shaolin monk Kane on the 1970s TV series Kung Fu, Mass Driver Frankenstein in Death Race 2000, and crime lord Bill in the Kill Bill movies, David Carradine specialized in characters shrouded in mystery. That applied to the actor himself when authorities investigated his untimely death and came up strangely short. In June 2009, in the middle of filming the movie Stretch, Carradine's body was discovered by a housekeeper in the actor's room at the Park Nai Lert Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand. The presence and placement of a rope on the actor, who was found in a closet, indicated death by suicide, but an official declaration was pending until after an autopsy could be performed. After officials in Thailand speculated that Carradine's death may have been the accidental result of sexual misadventure, the actor's family hired a medical examiner in the U.S. to execute an autopsy. Dr. Michael Bodden dismissed death by suicide as a possibility, as Carradine's body wasn't tied in a way consistent with that manner of death. While he couldn't fully determine if murder or a sexual accident incited Carradine's death, Dr. Bodden did declare that the actor died from asphyxiation.